My girlfriend just texted me during a meeting that she pawned my dead father's watch to make her student loan payment. I'm sitting here trying not to lose it in front of my entire operations team. I'm Liam, 36, operations manager at a logistics company in Seattle. My girlfriend Sabrina, 32, moved into my condo about 8 months ago after she got laid off from her marketing job. The plan was temporary. She'd save money on rent, find new work, and we'd figure out next steps. She's been looking, but the market's tough and she's got about $60K in student loan debt that's been crushing her. Here's the relevant background. Sabrina doesn't have her own credit card. Her credit's pretty shot from some late payments a few years back, so when she needed to set up utilities and order groceries online, I added her as an authorized user on one of my cards. Small limit, $800 just for household stuff. Now, about the watch. My dad passed away 4 years ago from pancreatic cancer. He wore the same Tag Heuer for 40 years, bought it in 1970 when he made partner at his firm. It's not some flashy piece, just a simple steel automatic with a worn leather strap. He wore it every single day. Every family photo, every holiday, every time he taught me to change a tire or helped me move into my first apartment, that watch was on his wrist. When he died, my mom gave it to me. It's worth maybe $12,000 if you sold it, but to me, it's the only thing I have that feels like he's still around. I kept it in a watch case in my closet. Sabrina knew what it was. I told her the whole story, shown her pictures of my dad wearing it. She'd seen me take it out on his birthday and just hold it for a while. She knew. Thursday morning, I was in a quarterly review meeting with my director and the Seattle regional team. My phone buzzed. I glanced down and saw a text from Sabrina. "Hey, just letting you know I pawned your father's old watch for my loan payment. You make good money, you'll get another one." I actually had to read it 3 times. My director asked if I was okay because apparently I went completely pale. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and just stared at the message. I didn't call her. I didn't text back anything emotional. I just wrote, "Thanks for letting me know." Then I called the Seattle police non-emergency line. I filed a stolen property report. Gave them everything, the text message, the approximate value when I'd last seen it. The officer I spoke with was sympathetic but direct. If Sabrina took it without permission and pawned it, that's theft. The fact that she lives with me or that we're dating doesn't give her ownership rights. Within 2 hours, they'd located the pawn shop in Ballard. Sabrina had signed paperwork with her real ID claiming the watch was hers. She got $3,400 for it. The shop, once notified by police, had to surrender it as evidence. They can't sell it, can't give it back to her, and they're out the money unless she's convicted and they can pursue restitution. Here's where it gets complicated. The officer handling my case is this older guy, maybe late 50s, and he asked me a few questions about Sabrina's family situation. Turns out her mom Carolyn is having a birthday dinner this Saturday. Sabrina had mentioned it to me last week. Big family thing at an Italian place near Green Lake, both her parents, her older brother Miles, her sister Amber. The officer suggested something I didn't expect. "If you want, we can serve the arrest warrant there. Public, family present, makes it real clear this isn't just some relationship squabble you'll smooth over in a week." I've never been a vindictive person. I'm the guy who returns extra change at the grocery store. But sitting in my car in the parking garage after that meeting, looking at that text again, "You'll get another one," something just snapped. She didn't apologize, she didn't ask. She just informed me that she'd sold the last piece of my father I had left like it was a transaction. I told the officer yes. So now I'm sitting here on Thursday night. Sabrina came home around 6 p.m., acted completely normal, asked what I wanted for dinner. I just said I wasn't hungry and went to my home office. She hasn't mentioned the watch. She hasn't asked if I'm upset. I don't think it's even occurred to her that what she did was wrong. The arrest is set for Saturday at 7 p.m., right in the middle of her mom's birthday dinner. I know how this sounds. I know people are going to say I'm overreacting, that it's just a watch, that I'm ruining her life over a mistake. But here's the thing, she knew. She knew what it meant. And she did it anyway, then texted me like she was letting me know she'd stopped at the store. I haven't told anyone yet. Not my mom, not my friends. Part of me keeps thinking I should call it off, just get the watch back and break up quietly. But another part of me, the part that keeps looking at that text message, thinks maybe someone who does something like this needs to face real consequences. Am I wrong here? Is this too far? Edit. I'm reading all the comments. To clarify a few things people are asking. Yes, I have proof the watch was my father's, photos spanning 40 years, old warranty card with his name. No, we're not married, not engaged. She has no legal claim to anything in my condo. The pawn shop confirmed she presented ID and signed documents stating the watch was her property. That's fraud. I'm not trying to ruin her life, but she committed a crime and I'm letting the justice system handle it. Several people asked if she's done stuff like this before. Honestly, looking back, there have been small things, using my Amazon account without asking, taking cash from my wallet and saying she'd pay it back but never did, but nothing like this. Thanks for listening, Reddit. I'll update after Saturday if people want to know what happens. Update 1, it's Sunday afternoon and I'm still processing what happened last night. Thanks to everyone who commented. Some of you called me vindictive, some said I was justified, but almost everyone said I should see it through. I did. Friday was surreal. I went to work like normal. Sabrina texted me twice asking if I wanted to grab dinner before her mom's party on Saturday, completely oblivious. I just said I had a work thing. That evening she was on the couch watching TV, painting her nails, laughing at some reality show. I stayed in my office and kept thinking about my dad's watch sitting in an evidence locker somewhere. Saturday came. Sabrina spent the afternoon getting ready, doing her makeup, asking if her dress looked okay. I told her I had a family thing of my own and would try to meet her there later. She seemed fine with that. After she left, I sat in my condo for 20 minutes just staring at my phone. The restaurant was Bella Vita, this nice Italian place near Green Lake. I showed up a bit early. The officer I'd been working with, Detective Morrison, had coordinated with 2 uniformed officers to arrive shortly after me. I walked in, saw the family already seated at a long table near the back. Sabrina's mom Carolyn at the head, her dad Victor next to her, then Miles, Amber, Sabrina, and a couple of cousins I'd met once or twice. Sabrina saw me and waved, all smiles. "Hey, you made it, I saved you a seat." I walked over, but I didn't sit down. Everyone was looking at me, confused. Carolyn said something like, "Liam, honey, you look stressed. Sit, have some wine." I put my phone on the table and pulled up the text message, turned it so everyone could see. "I need to show you all something. Thursday morning, Sabrina sent me this." I watched Sabrina's face change as she realized what I was doing. Miles leaned over to read it. Amber's mouth actually fell open. Victor closed his eyes. Carolyn said, "What is this?" "Liam, this is my birthday dinner. She stole my late father's watch and pawned it," I said. My voice was steady. I'd practiced this. "Not borrowed. Stole. Took it from my closet, took it to a pawn shop in Ballard, signed legal documents claiming it was hers, and got $3,400 for it." Sabrina finally spoke up. "Oh my God, you're seriously doing this here. It's just a watch. Stop being so dramatic. Just a watch." I pulled out printed copies of the pawn receipt the police had given me, handed them to Victor. "Your daughter committed fraud. She signed paperwork stating she owned property that wasn't hers. That's a crime." Miles was reading the receipt. He looked at Sabrina. "What the hell, Brina?" Carolyn immediately went into defense mode. "She was just trying to pay her student loans. She made a mistake. Liam, you make good money. You can't just let this go." That's when Amber, quiet, sensible Amber, said, "Mom, she stole from him, from his dead father's memory." "What are you even talking about right now?" The table devolved into chaos. Victor just sat there with his head in his hands. Sabrina kept trying to spin it, saying I'd given her permission to use my stuff since she lived with me, that I was clearly overreacting because we were fighting about something else. Carolyn was crying. Miles and Amber were arguing with their mom. Then Detective Morrison walked in with the 2 uniformed officers. The restaurant got very, very quiet. Morrison approached the table. "Sabrina Moore," she looked at him, then at me, then back at him. "Yes, you're under arrest for grand theft and fraudulent misrepresentation. Please stand up and turn around." I will never forget the look on her face. It went from confusion to disbelief to pure panic in about 3 seconds. Carolyn started screaming, "You can't do this here. It's my birthday." "Liam, tell them to stop. You can't let them do this to my daughter." Victor stood up and gently pulled his wife back. He looked at me and I saw something like resignation in his eyes. He knew. Maybe he'd always known what kind of person his daughter was. They read Sabrina her rights, cuffed her, and walked her out through the restaurant. Every table watched. Someone was definitely filming. Sabrina was crying, saying she didn't do anything wrong. This was insane. I was ruining her life over nothing. I didn't stay to see what happened next. I just started walking away. Miles walked out with me afterward. We stood in the parking lot and he just said, "Man, I'm sorry. I knew she was irresponsible, but I didn't think she'd do something like this." I drove home, changed all the locks on my condo, and poured myself a very large whiskey. Sunday morning, I started going through my credit card statements. Remember how I said I'd added her as an authorized user with an $800 limit for groceries and household stuff? Yeah. She'd been using the card number to make online purchases and putting in my address for shipping. Over the past 6 weeks, $900 worth of clothes from Nordstrom, $650 in makeup and skincare from Sephora, $1,200 on some kind of self-help course, another $800 on Uber Eats orders I definitely didn't authorize, and last week a $950 pair of boots. Total, about $4,500, all shipped to my condo, all while I was at work. I'd been wondering why packages kept showing up. She'd been intercepting them. I felt like such an idiot. I called Detective Morrison. He sighed and said, "Add it to the report." That's credit card fraud. So now we're looking at 2 separate criminal charges. The preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. Sabrina made bail this morning. Her parents posted it. She called me 17 times. I didn't answer. Then she started texting, "I can't believe you did this to me. You ruined my life. I'll never get a job now. My mom is devastated. I was going to pay you back. You're a freaking psycho." I forwarded everything to Detective Morrison and blocked her number. My mom called after I finally told her what happened. She just said, "Your father would be proud of you for standing up for yourself." Then she cried for 20 minutes because she's been missing him a lot lately, and the thought of that watch being gone had hurt her too. The watch is still in evidence, but Morrison said once the case is resolved, it'll be returned to me. Could be months though. I don't feel good about any of this. I don't feel victorious. I feel tired, but every time I doubt myself, I think about that text message. "You'll get another one. Some things can't be replaced." Edit. A lot of people are asking about Sabrina's family's reaction. Victor sent me a text this morning. "I'm sorry about what happened. You did what you had to do." Carolyn, on the other hand, left me a voicemail calling me vindictive and cruel. Miles and Amber both reached out separately to say they support me. The family's pretty fractured right now. And yes, I'm getting a lawyer for the civil side of things. The credit card fraud gives me additional grounds for restitution. People keep saying just sue her. I'm letting the criminal case play out first, then I'll decide on civil court. Update 2. The preliminary hearing was 3 weeks ago. Sabrina's bail was revoked 2 weeks ago after she got caught stealing from her new job. The trial just finished yesterday, and I need to write this all down while it's still fresh. Between the arrest and the hearing, Sabrina went scorched earth on social media, posted a long Facebook rant about how I had her arrested over a misunderstanding and was using the police to abuse her. Her friends started commenting on my Instagram, calling me controlling and vindictive. Someone from her college days made a TikTok about toxic men who weaponize the legal system. I didn't respond to any of it publicly. Instead, I called my company's HR department and gave them a heads up that an employee, me, was involved in an ongoing criminal case and there might be social media blowback. I forwarded them the police reports, the text message, everything. Our HR director reviewed it and told me the company supported me fully, and if anyone contacted them with accusations, they'd refer to the documented evidence. Then I posted one thing, a single Instagram story with the screenshot of Sabrina's text message and the pawn receipt with the caption "Context Matters." Tagged her in it. Deleted it after 24 hours, but the damage was done. The narrative flipped pretty fast when people saw she'd literally texted me about pawning my dead father's watch like it was nothing. At the preliminary hearing, Sabrina's public defender tried to argue this was a domestic misunderstanding between romantic partners, and that I'd given her general access to my belongings by letting her live with me. The prosecutor, this sharp woman in her 40s named Diane Murphy, shut that down immediately. She presented all the evidence, the text, the pawn documents, everything. Video footage from my condo's hallway camera showing Sabrina leaving with a small bag the morning she pawned it. My testimony about never giving permission. The judge, older guy, looked tired, barely deliberated. This isn't a case of unclear boundaries in a relationship. The defendant removed property she knew belonged to the plaintiff, fraudulently misrepresented ownership to a third party, and profited from the transaction. The state has sufficient evidence to proceed. Bind over for trial. Sabrina's bail conditions were straightforward. No contact with me, stay employed or actively seeking employment, check in weekly with pretrial services. She lasted 2 weeks. She got a new job at a boutique retail store in Capitol Hill. I only know this because Detective Morrison called me one afternoon and said, "Your ex just got arrested again." Apparently, Sabrina had been pocketing cash from the register. Not a lot, $40 here, $60 there, but the manager noticed inventory wasn't matching up with sales. They checked the cameras and caught her straight up taking money from the drawer when she thought no one was looking. Store pressed charges. Sabrina was arrested at work. Her bail was revoked because theft while on pretrial release is a pretty big no-no. She's been in King County Jail ever since. That was 2 weeks ago. The trial was yesterday. I took the day off work. Sat in the gallery with my mom, who'd flown in from Phoenix because she wanted to be there when they talked about Dad's watch. Sabrina looked rough. Jail doesn't agree with anyone, but she'd lost weight and had this hollow look in her eyes. She wouldn't look at me during the entire proceeding. Her public defender did his best. Argued she'd been under financial stress, made a bad decision in a moment of panic, deeply regretted it. He tried to paint me as unforgiving and harsh for pressing charges instead of working it out privately. Diane Murphy was surgical. She walked the jury through every element of the crime, showed them the text message, "You'll get another one," and let it sit there. Brought in the pawn shop owner, who testified that Sabrina had signed documents stating the watch was hers and showed no hesitation or uncertainty. Brought in an appraiser who valued the watch at $12,000. Diane Murphy walked the jury through everything: the watch theft, the fraudulent pawn documents, the additional credit card charges, and the bail violation at her new job. "Members of the jury," Diane said in her closing, "this isn't a one-time mistake. This is a pattern of taking what doesn't belong to her, lying about it, and showing no remorse until she faces consequences." The jury deliberated for about 90 minutes, came back with guilty verdicts on both counts, grand theft and fraud. Sabrina started crying. Her public defender put his hand on her shoulder. Carolyn, sitting a few rows behind me, made this awful sound, half sob, half gasp. "Sentencing happened this morning. 18 months in state prison, 3 years probation after release, full restitution of $12,000 for the watch plus $4,500 for the credit card fraud, plus court fees and the cost of the investigation." The judge was direct. "Ms. Moore, you violated someone's trust in the most personal way possible, then compounded it with fraud, and demonstrated through your bail violation that you haven't learned anything. The court hopes you use this time to reflect seriously on your choices." Victor was there. Carolyn wasn't. I heard she'd had some kind of breakdown and was staying with her sister in Oregon. Miles and Amber sat on the opposite side of the courtroom from their dad. The family's completely fractured. Victor sent me a text afterward. "Thank you for seeing this through. I'm sorry we didn't raise her better." I didn't know what to say to that, so I just liked the message. Detective Morrison told me the watch will be released from evidence within the next few weeks, once all the paperwork clears. He shook my hand and said, "Not many people follow through like this. Most just want to move on. Your dad would be proud." I'm sitting in my condo now, same place where this all started 11 weeks ago. The watch case is still in my closet, empty. I open it sometimes and just look at the indentation where the watch used to sit. I know some people think I went too far, that I should have just broken up with her and moved on, but every time I doubt myself, I think about that text message, the casual cruelty of it. "You'll get another one." Some things can't be replaced, and some people need to learn that actions have consequences. Trial's over. She's serving time. I'm moving forward. Not sure there's much more to update after this, but I'll post once more when I get the watch back. That'll be the real end of this nightmare. Final update. Finally, I got my dad's watch back. It's home. Detective Morrison called me on a Tuesday. "Evidence release is approved. You can pick it up Thursday." I drove to the precinct, signed the forms, and they brought it out in a sealed evidence bag. I didn't open it until I got home. Sat on my couch, carefully cut the seal, and there it was. Same worn leather strap, same scratched crystal. I just held it for a while and cried. It felt like getting a piece of my dad back. I had it serviced the next day. The watchmaker wound it carefully and we watched the second hand start sweeping. 40-year-old movement still keeps perfect time. Your father took care of this. I wear it now on important days. About 4 months ago, I started therapy. Turns out having your girlfriend steal your dead father's watch does some damage to your ability to trust people. My therapist has helped me understand why I tolerated those early boundary violations and how to set limits without guilt. I started dating again 2 months ago. Met Jennifer at a board game night. She's a high school English teacher. On our third date, I told her everything. She said, "That must have been incredibly hard. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. We're taking it slow." She's never asked to borrow money or hinted about moving in. It's refreshing to see what a healthy relationship looks like. Victor and Carolyn separated 4 months ago. Carolyn couldn't accept that Sabrina had done anything wrong and kept blaming me. Victor finally had enough and moved out. He and I have coffee occasionally. Miles and Amber have stayed in touch. Amber texted last month, "You were family for 3 years. We don't blame you for what happened." Sabrina got out early after 11 months. 2 weeks later, Carolyn showed up at my condo demanding I give back her daughter's belongings. I told her through the door I donated everything. She stayed on my doorstep for 30 minutes, alternating between crying and screaming. Building security called the police. I filed for a restraining order the next morning. Here's the kicker. Sabrina reoffended last month. Got a receptionist job, stole a patient's credit card info, bought $1,200 worth of stuff online. Security footage caught her photographing the card. She was arrested again. Miles texted me. "I don't know what's wrong with her." I don't know either. And it's not my problem anymore. My life now, promoted to senior operations manager, paid off my student loans, started rock climbing with Claire. The watch sits in its case on my dresser when I'm not wearing it. Some people show you who they are through their actions. Sabrina showed me she saw other people's treasured possessions as resources to exploit. I showed myself I wouldn't tolerate that, even when it was hard. The watch is home. I'm moving forward, and I'm okay. Thanks for following this journey, Reddit. I'm logging off this throwaway account now. Time to close this chapter for good.